Welcome to our open book, Caroline, Rhonda, Diane Lynch, Mary Glazer, Carla Atkins, Carla, hi there, Carla Atkinson, S.R. O'Brien, Janet Graver, Dorothy Joy, Mr. Dickens, S.R. Diana Lynch. Good to be with everybody. We will work on this X thing, by the way. I'm sorry I can't pass along lots of stuff, but it might take a few days.
Oh, you have been passing along lots of stuff. I bought more crypto today than I have in a long time. I'm joking.
Well, darling,
You're passing along crypto
I'm
tips.
so glad to hear this. People have come. Did you see from our friend in Paris who sent me? Yeah, exactly. Well, I hope we have more than one friend there, but you know what I mean.
Yes.
So in 1992, I just have a paperback. Nick Hornby, whose name would be better known, came out with a book essentially about being we would say soccer in this country, football fan called Fever Pitch. In those days, Arsenal, which has become better, was, dare I say, cub-like. This is his book about being a fan and at various other points in his life, how he carried it along, what it meant to him. And it's a wonderful book and announced Nick Hornby's arrival in literature. Yes, the author of High Fidelity, S.R., which was about also his life as a fan of music.
Michael Dickens praises your selection.
Oh, of course, yes. All right. Right. That's who you write for, Mr. Dickens. So, this is the introduction to Fever Pitch. Sunday, 14th July, 1991. A lot of these names, and for that matter, even T names, will be unfamiliar to an audience primarily of Americans, but it's worth hearing anyway. Nick Hornby begins by saying, "It's in there all the time, looking for a way out. I wake up around 10, make 2 cups of tea, take them into the bedroom, place one on each side of the bed. We both sit thoughtfully. So soon after waking, there are long, dream-filled gaps between the occasional remark about the rain outside, about smoking in the bedroom when I have agreed not to. She asks what I'm doing this week, and I think, 1, I'm seeing Matthew on Wednesday. 2, Matthew's still got my Champions video. 3, remembering that Matthew, a purely nominal Arsenal fan, has not been to Highbury, where they play, for a couple of years, and so has no opportunity to watch the more recent recruits in the flesh. I wonder what he thought of Anders Limpar. And at 3 easy stages, within 15-20 minutes of waking, I am on my way. I see Limpar running at Gillespie, swaying to the right, going down. Penalty! Dixon scores 2-0. Merson's back heel flick and Smith's right foot shot into the far corner of the same match. Merson's little push past Grobbelaar up at Anfield. Davis's swivel and smash against Villa. And remember, this is a morning in July, our month off, when there's no club football of any kind. Sometimes, when I let this dreamy state take me over completely, I go on and back through Anfield 89, Wembley 87, Stamford Bridge 78. My whole footballing life flashing before my eyes. What are you thinking about, she asks. Well, I wasn't thinking about Martin Amis or Gerard Depardieu or the Labour Party at all, but then obsessives have no choice. If we told the truth every time, then we'd be unable to maintain relationships with anyone from the real world. Would we be left to rot with our Arsenal programs and our collection of original Blue Label Stax records, or our King Charles Spaniels, and our 2-minute daydreams would become longer and longer until we lost our jobs and stopped bathing and shaving and eating, and we would lie on the floor in our own filth, rewinding the video again and again in an attempt to memorize by heart the whole of the commentary, including David Pleat's expert analysis for the night of the 26th in May 1899. You think I had to look that date up? Ha! The truth is, for alarmingly large chunks of an average day, I am a moron. Hi there, Catherine Capel. He didn't mean you. I would not wish to suggest the contemplation of football is in itself an improper use of the imagination. David Lacey, the chief football correspondent for The Guardian, is a fine writer and an obviously intelligent man, and presumably he must devote even more of his interior life than I do to the game. The difference between Lacey and me is that I rarely think. I remember, I fantasize. I try to visualize every one of Alan Smith's goals. I tick off the number of First Division grounds I have visited. Once or twice when I have been unable to sleep, I have tried to count every single Arsenal player I've ever seen. When I was a kid, I knew the names of the wives and girlfriends of the double-winning team. Now I can only remember that Charlie George's fiancée was called Susan Farge and that Bob Wilson's wife was called Megs. But even this partial recall is terrifyingly unnecessary. None of this is thought in the proper sense of the word. There is no analysis or self-awareness or mental rigor going on at all because obsessives are denied any kind of perspective on their own passion. This is, in a sense, what defines an obsessive and serves to explain why so few of them recognize themselves as such. The fellow fan who last season went to watch Wimbledon reserves against Luton deserves on a freezing January afternoon on his own, not in the spirit of one-upsmanship or some kind of self-mocking laddish wackiness, but because he was genuinely interested. Recently strenuously denied to me that he was an eccentric in any way. Fever Pitch is an attempt to gain some kind of an angle on my obsession. Why has this relationship that began as a schoolboy crush endured for nearly a quarter of the century? Longer than any other relationship I've made of my own free will. I love my family dearly, but they were rather foisted on me, and I am no longer in touch with any of the friends I made before I was 14, apart from the only other Arsenal fan at school. And why has this affinity managed to survive my periodic feelings of indifference and sorrow? This book is also, in part, an exploration of some of the meanings that football seems to contain for many of us. It has become quite clear to me that my devotion says things about my own character and personal history. But the way the game is consumed seems to offer all sorts of information about our society and culture. I have friends who will regard this as pretentious, self-serving nonsense, the kind of desperate justification one might expect from a man who has spent a huge chunk of his leisure time fretting miserably in the cold. They're particularly resistant to the idea because I tend to overestimate the metaphorical value of football and therefore introduce it into conversation where it simply does not belong. I now accept that football has no relevance to the Falklands conflict, the Rushdie affair, the Gulf War, childbirth, the ozone layer, the poll tax, etc., etc. And I would like to take this opportunity to anyone who has had to listen to my pathetically strained analogies. I really relate to this term.
Mm-hmm.
Finally, Fever Pitch is about being a fan. I have read books written by people who obviously love football, but that's a different thing entirely. I have read books written, for want of a better word, by hooligans. That would be football hooligans, or we call them soccer hooligans here. But at least 95% of the millions who watch games every year have never hit anyone in their lives. So this is for the rest of us. And for anyone who has wondered what it might be like to be this way. The details here are unique to me. I hope that they will strike a chord with anyone who has ever found themselves drifting off in the middle of a working day, or a film, or a conversation, toward a left foot volley into a top right-hand corner, 10 or 15,
Excuse me.
10 or 15, or 25 years ago.
Oh, that's nice about being a sports fan.
The Hornby Fever Pitch. Sticky wicket's a different sport, but thanks, SR. A cricket bat, I guess, can be a deadly weapon. I've never tried that. Have you ever held a cricket bat?
No. Probably better.
Yes, I know what I could use it for. So thanks for being with us. We will work on the X thing tomorrow. But very good to be with you. Very good to be with you this morning while I recorded the essay. Did you hear the essay, Darren?
I heard it on, yes, not on Substack.
Yeah, but no,
yes.
yeah, okay, yeah. It's very good to be with everybody here for our open book. I'm just a little tired, but thanks very much for being with us. Good for turning worms. Oh, we think of that.
They're thriving.
Yeah,
Yes.
the Slimans are thriving. I have a book tour coming up in May. We will be featuring, sharing schedules and that sort of thing. So thanks very much. Take care. Yes, I think I might, Rhonda. Take care. Nice to be with you.